will be doing a collective energy reading to see what wants to come through, what's going on in the collective right now, how everyone's feeling. I intended on doing this earlier. That's okay though. I've been going through some things in my personal life, so I needed a kind of a minute to breathe and relax first anyways before I settled into another one of these readings. So now that things are a little more settled, we will jump into this finally, like 30 days later. Today is May 30th, 2026, and we will see what's going on in the collective. Keep in mind that these readings will not resonate with everybody, although it might tap into like specific people sometimes, so be aware of that. So what I'm noticing most right now is a stripping away of what no longer is coherent anymore, mentally, emotionally, even just like day-to-day environments and day-to-day moments. There's a strong sense of sensitivity, like to anything that doesn't feel aligned or sustainable right now. Whether that's people, habits, thought patterns. This isn't about something being wrong or needing to be fixed, though. It's more like clarity is increasing, and with that clarity, distortion just isn't blending into the background the way that it used to. So what that creates is a mix of experiences like tiredness, frustration, emotional release, or sudden moments of clarity that feel intense or very noticeable. Not because things are getting worse, but because awareness is getting sharper and the veil is thinning. So we've got the veil thinning, and we also have our awareness getting more precise. Underneath all that, though, there's like a simplification. There's less noise, less internal contradiction, and more direct perception of everything. Okay, so for this reading, I want to go like a layer deeper into that process. We're going to look into what's currently being cleared from the collective field, what's coming into awareness right now with everyone, and what is becoming more visible, even if it hasn't fully like registered yet in your mind. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull some tarot cards. Keep in mind, I still don't have a physical deck. I'm actually in the process of creating a tarot deck with the AI, and I'm like 3 cards in, or 4 cards in maybe, and just so you know, they look amazing so far, and it's been so fun creating them. I'm super excited about those. It's going to be a while before they're done, though, because there are so many. So right now, the AI is actually pulling the cards for me. So the first question, what is currently being cleared from the collective field? What is currently being cleared from the collective field? The card pulled was the Death card. This energy represents a deep clearing and transformation, where old patterns, cycles, or attachments are naturally falling away to create space for something new. So with this shift that we're going through, the more light that continues to pour into the earth, the more like that we get rattled up. Anything that's full of distortion, or not necessarily negative, but like low frequency, low vibration, anything that's not for our highest good is really getting shaken up like to the surface for clearing.
Full AI description. This card reflects a process of release and transformation within the collective field. It does not indicate literal endings, but rather the closing of outdated cycles, identities, and energetic patterns that are no longer aligned. There is a natural shedding occurring that may feel intense or uncomfortable at times, but it is ultimately creating space for renewal. What is being cleared is anything that has reached its completion point energetically, allowing for a more authentic and aligned foundation to emerge.
Okay, so next question. What's trying to come into the awareness within the collective field right now? The card pulled is the High Priestess. This type of energy points to your intuition, inner knowing, and subtle awareness. like all beginning to arise into conscious perception. It seemed like this card came up in the last reading I did, like a month and a half ago. I remember talking about everyone's intuition really getting bumped up. Everyone's really starting to trust their gut more than they ever have in the past.
Full AI description. The collective is beginning to reconnect with deeper intuitive awareness and inner sensing. This is not necessarily loud or obvious information, but rather subtle recognition, gut feelings, and internal knowing that is becoming harder to ignore. There is a strengthening of perception beneath the surface of logic, encouraging trust in inner guidance over external validation. This card highlights a shift toward listening more deeply to what is felt rather than what is immediately seen or explained.
Okay, so let's also take a look at what's becoming more visible to the collective that they might not fully recognize yet. So the card pulled is the Ace of Swords. This energy reflects clarity beginning to cut through confusion, bringing truth, insight, and mental breakthroughs into our awareness.
Full AI description. This card indicates that clarity to emerge in ways that may feel sudden or striking. Truths that were previously unclear are starting to surface, bringing a new level of understanding and mental clarity. It represents breakthroughs in perception, where confusion begins to dissolve and a more direct awareness becomes available. The collective may start to see situations more clearly, not through emotional interpretation, but through sharper insight and discernment.
What the collective can do to help strengthen their intuition and to help stabilize their own judgment. So the card pulled is Justice. This energy is all about creating inner balance through honesty, self-awareness, and learning to trust clear, grounded decision making over emotional reactivity or mental noise.
Full AI description. This card emphasizes the importance of clarity, truth, and internal accountability as the foundation for strengthening intuition and stabilizing judgment. The collective is being guided to refine how decisions are made by creating space between impulse, emotion, and response. Rather than reacting from confusion or external influence, there is a call to return to inner truth and objective self awareness. Justice reflects the need for balance between intuition and discernment, not choosing one over the other, but allowing them to work together in alignment. When the mind is calm and the internal field is neutral, intuition becomes easier to hear and trust. This card suggests that stability comes from consistent self honesty and the willingness to see situations clearly without distortion or avoidance.
Let's ask another question. What's currently blocking or distorting the collective's intuitive perception? Ooh, so the Devil card came out again. Um, in this context, the energy reflects attachment patterns and fear-based thinking, unconscious conditioning that can distort your intuition by making you doubt what you already sense.
This card points to the influence of attachment, fear, and ingrained conditioning as the primary distortions affecting intuitive clarity. Rather than intuition being unavailable, it is often being filtered through patterns of doubt, compulsion, or external influence. These patterns can create a sense of being mentally or emotionally stuck, where reactions feel automatic rather than consciously chosen. The Devil highlights how fear based narratives, over identification with thoughts, or dependence on external validation can override subtle inner knowing. In this state, intuition is still present, but it is being masked by noise created through attachment to certainty, control, or avoidance of discomfort. The invitation here is to recognize these patterns without judgment, so that awareness itself begins to loosen their influence and restore clarity.
How can the collective clear or release those distortions in a practical way? The card pulled is the Hermit. So, stepping back from external noise and creating space for inner reflection and reconnecting with personal truth.
The practical pathway for clearing distortion is withdrawal from excessive external influence so that inner perception can recalibrate. This does not necessarily mean isolation in a literal sense, but rather intentional periods of stillness, reflection, and reduced input from external voices, opinions, or distractions. The hermit emphasizes the importance of turning inward to reestablish a direct connection with personal truth. In this space, clarity is not forced. It naturally emerges when external noise is minimized. Through reflection, journaling, solitude, or mindful awareness, the collective can begin to distinguish between conditioned thought patterns and genuine intuitive insight. The core message here is that clarity is restored through simplification. When attention is brought back inward, distortion naturally begins to dissolve, allowing intuitive perception to become more stable and trustworthy.
Okay, so let's go ahead and pull one more card for the night. When your intuition is aligned, what does that feel like? The card pulled is the Star. This energy reflects a sense of calm knowing, trust, and inner alignment, where guidance feels natural rather than forced.
Full AI description. When intuitive perception is fully aligned, there is a sense of ease and coherence that replaces confusion and mental struggle. Guidance no longer feels like something that must be chased, analyzed, or constantly validated. Instead, there is a quiet confidence that emerges from within. The star represents trust in both the inner process and the larger unfolding of life. Intuition becomes less about predicting outcomes and more about recognizing what feels true, aligned, and authentic in the present moment. Decisions are made from a place of clarity rather than urgency, and there is less attachment to fear based scenarios or external approval. This energy often feels expansive, hopeful, and deeply connected. Rather than seeking certainty, there is trust in the next step as it reveals itself. The mind becomes quieter, the heart becomes more open, and guidance is experienced as a steady current rather than a dramatic event.
Okay, so we pulled 5 cards. I'm going to just quickly go over these. The Ace of Swords, clarity appears. Justice, balance strengthens discernment. The Devil, distortions are identified. The Hermit, space is created to clear them. And the Star, aligned intuition naturally emerges. Okay, so I'm not going to pull any more for this one. The Star is a pretty good ending there. To bring it all together, the overall message isn't really about finding something outside of yourself. It's about clearing enough noise to hear what's already been beneath the surface. We saw clarity beginning to emerge, but we also saw how fear, conditioning, overthinking, and external influences can distort that clarity. The card showed that strengthening intuition isn't about forcing answers, it's more about creating space, slowing down, and reconnecting with your own inner truth. The energy we're moving toward is represented by the Star, a state of greater trust, alignment, and inner knowing. Not because every question has to be answered right now, but because there's less need to control the outcome and more trust in the process itself.